I remember hearing on Dark Journalist's channel, on his video channel, him talking about how Steiner said that, Rudolf Steiner said that you only are really ready to teach when you enter into your 40s and 50s, due to the nature of the wisdom you have through experience of life, of living. And I'm beginning to see how that for me really rings true, the nature of my experiences over the last 51 years being in this body. And I really feel as though I'm at a place in my life now where I'm prepared to be able to teach in a way that shows the wisdom that I gained through my experiences has allowed me to become the man I am today. Now, I've never been clearer in my life in regards to who I am and what I'm available for. And that's a very powerful place to be. I'm also have become incredibly authentic and vulnerable in my life, and I value the nature of the vulnerability that I have in my life. And I value vulnerability and connection above all else. I would never judge someone for being vulnerable and being open with me. And of course, I understand the nature of having boundaries and having strong boundaries as well in regards to connection, because sometimes you don't feel safe coming to a place where you meet somebody, and the intensity of that connection when you first meet someone who's very vulnerable can be quite scary and can come across as being too intense if you're not used to honesty and realness and authenticity. For me, I value those aspects of self more than anything else now, because that's what I radiate out into the world: authenticity, loyalty, integrity, the realness of the real, vulnerability. And I can see the nature of being in your late 40s, early 50s with these experiences and this knowledge and understanding, and embodying them as being the key to be able to teach. It's all very well to say that you learned something online, or you read a book, or you went through a course with someone, and you say that you can actually go out now and teach. But the amount of facilitators I've seen at festivals and that I've actually met who teach modalities that supposedly help to further one's self-awareness and heal, and they themselves are wounded, like Chiron, the wounded healer, are wounded and do not embody their own teachings. I'm seeing a lot of people in that space who practice, who don't practice what they preach. They preach but don't practice, shall we say. So for me, the whole idea behind this now, coming to a place where I'm not teaching, I'm not a teacher per se. I am a man who's only telling you about his experiences and what he's learning, and giving you the opportunity, the man or the woman watching this video is going to get a deeper understanding of who I am as an imaginist, as an author, as a creative. That's the whole idea behind the reason why I do these videos, is to give you a deeper understanding of why I perceive the world, who I am, and why I write, and what I've written, why I make videos, the content I've created, where does it all come from, who am I, to give you that deeper understanding of who I am. So if I share with you information in regards to my personal processes and what I've gone through and my historical anecdotes, you might be able to relate to something I'm sharing with you. You might find a seed in there that germinates for you into your own personal healing experiences, or use your discernment to find something within what I say to you, and then it might lead you to a place where you have a revelation or epiphany or a deeper understanding of the nature of reality, or takes you to a place of deeper research into a topic that you find interesting. But I totally see now that in my 50s that I have become the man I've always wanted to be, in a way that has allowed me to come to a place where I am able to have the amicable connections that I want to have in regards to moving forward in a way that is cohesive for my own personal growth, my own degree of connection, and my feeling of oneness with all of reality. And in that feeling, I still have very strong boundaries. I still have very strong boundaries energetically, especially because as we move through life and as we become more sensitive, we understand that not everyone who's on the conscious movement path, or not everyone who is actually embodied, or anyone who's incarnate, are resonating on the same level. If you don't resonate on the same level with somebody, then generally what happens in my experiences is that the being that is resonating higher, when they come into the space with someone who resonates lower than them, the person lower in that lower resonance is triggered by what they experience by being around that man or woman. And in that trigger, they begin to project their issues, their traumas, their beliefs, their limitations, anything that's not cohesive to that actual energetic mainframe of the higher resonance. They'll project that out onto the man or the woman with the higher resonance and begin to blame, begin to shame, or begin to mock and project out that trauma onto that individual, and therefore create conflict because they cannot resonate, they cannot bring themselves into, or they cannot, but they can through choice. Through choice, of course they can. They've given that choice to begin to own their shit, take responsibility for how they feel, and in that taking responsibility for how they feel is an opportunity for deep healing, and then a shift in awareness, a shift in resonance to a place of deeper understanding of who they are, and that healing journey begins proper. And for me, that's what I've experienced in the last few months. I've experienced a great deal of healing in the sense that I've been triggered by certain experiences in my life that have eventuated in my life due to my choices that I've made and the choices of other people have made around me. And I've owned my shit when I've been triggered. I've owned my shit, taking full responsibility for how I feel, and not pointing my finger at anyone else and going like, I feel this way right now. Why do I feel this way right now? And in that space, I've come back and I've created the space between me and the woman or the man that I've had the experience with. If I feel triggered by a situation with an individual, and by doing that, for me, what I've done is it's given me the space to feel into what the energy between us, and then begin to ask the right questions that bring me into a greater understanding of why I was triggered in the first place. And then in that understanding, I'm able to often shine a light onto the other person. I keep saying person, that person's as a legal fiction. Let's get it right, man or woman. And that other man or woman that I'm interacting with. And by doing that, asking the right questions, I'm able to bring their awareness to a level that matches mine. And we can both have revelation. And in that revelation, often have that amicable, conflict-free resolution to our situations if we find ourselves in a disagreement or discordance. And I've seen that lately in my life so much. I really feel as though, in regards to relationship with family members, with friends, with loved ones, with lovers, it's been a quantum leap for me to come to this place where I truly understand this and move into this space where I am able to ask the right questions. I'm able to have the patience and lean back and create the space for the right information to come forward, for both of us to move forward in an amicable way, in a conflict-free way, because in the past I would be more reactive. I'd be more reactive rather than responsive. And now being more responsive, it's allowed me to come to a place in my life where I'm able to have these connections, create deeper connections with my friends, loved ones, and family, and be able to see them as a part of myself, and see that connectivity, that oneness that we all share, which is who we really are. That's a beautiful thing. I can see why Rudolf Steiner said at the late 40s and 50s, then you are ready to teach, because the wisdom of your experiences you've gained through life and the psychological and the spiritual maturity that you feel in that age, if you have been doing the work, you begin to embody it. I am seeing that in myself. I'm embodying that which I have learnt, and now I am learning to go deeper through empirical experience in a way that has created this harmony and balance in my life like I've never had before. And moving forward from where I am now, I already feel as though the ability for me to be able to interact with my fellow men and women has taken a whole new level of communication and communicative depth. And in that depth of communication, I'm having a greater understanding of myself. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. Mā te ora. I'll see you again soon.